Hey, welcome to another episode of Tell Me How You're Mighty. It's Tracy and Sarah here. And today we're going to take a little divergent topic. We were going to snark about politics, but then I get hate mail. And just let me say, Kamala for president. Please register to vote. That's all I want to say on that. But I got a letter last night, and Sarah and I thought it would make a great story to tell you guys. And Sarah, you want to tee this one up? What did you think?
Well, this is staggering, isn't it, really? I mean, this is something that because a lot of the advice industry relies on the fact that, things have got a bit stale and you've drifted along and you haven't realized what you had. But when someone cheats, either when they're about to get married or when they have just got married, that is when it highlights the fact that this advice is all nonsense.
Yeah, and it's yeah. I mean, what could you possibly have done to make him cheat when you're only 2 months into your wedding? So yeah, we got a letter from a young woman, and we're not going to give out her name. We'll just call her A, which is the way she signed it. And I'm going to read the letter, and then Sarah, you're going to tell me what you think here. We have many points to discuss. So it's Dear Chump Lady, here comes a long email, but I am so hurt and so sad, and I've just finished reading your book. I really need help and advice. I'm 1 week into a breakup. We got married 2 months ago, and on Monday evening, I got completely blindsided. We had been together for 7 years and married for 2 months, and I thought we were happy. For the last couple weeks, I had a gut feeling that something wasn't right, and that he was cheating on me with one of my friends, his colleague. He has a trip to Italy coming up next week, and my gut feeling was telling me that he would be meeting her there. We lived in Sydney, Australia for the last 5 years, and now she lives in London. On Monday last week, I asked him again, is anything going on with her? And he told me, no, absolutely not. Stop asking me. But my gut was kicking in, so I checked his laptop, and sure enough, there it was. All the messages on Teams, emails, and a ticket to go to the Coliseum with her name on it. I confronted him and he told me the truth. He told me that he thinks he's in love with her and that they'll be meeting in Italy to talk and figure out their feelings. I started begging and pleading with him to stay. We are married. He made a commitment to me in front of all of our family and friends. I was just so shocked. He told me that he has to go see if these feelings are real, and he wanted me to stay and wait. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. The worst is that this girl has been texting me. We have been sending each other funny clips on Instagram, texting as friends, and no one has ever thought to say anything to me. I would also like to add that she was at my hen's party, my 30th birthday, my wedding. I decided to leave for a while and go home to my parents to recover. This morning, I spoke with him again, and he still tells me that he loves me and misses me. How can that be? But that he thinks of her a lot and wants to see if his feelings are true. How can you treat someone you love this way? He also told me that she would be staying at the hotel with him and that he would be taking his wedding band off. My brain is telling me to run for the hills as I am honestly baffled and scared of how easily they've both lied to me throughout all of this. But my heart is just so broken. I've never experienced a pain quite like this, and I can't help feeling embarrassed and ashamed about the wedding now, and I can't even bear to speak about it. I've removed him off all socials and I want to block him, but I know we'll have to make contact again to divorce, which is also so bloody hard to think about. I'm 30 years old, I've been married for 2 months, I was together with him for 7 years, and now I'm separated. Another thing I can't stop thinking about is the fact that on multiple occasions she told me and other friends that she loves sleeping with married men and she enjoys being in power to break couples up, and I can't stop thinking, why my man? And the worst is that I miss him and I love him, but how could he ever think that I was an option? Any advice would be so much appreciated right now.
It's
Hey.
staggering, isn't it? I mean, firstly, 2 months. So you think of all the preparation that goes into a wedding and all the planning and the discussing. And you think if there's any lack of sureness that you love someone, then that's the point to bring it up, not to go through with a wedding
Right.
and to plot and plan and involve, all the expense and the friends and the commitment. it's I find it upsetting that she feels ashamed when actually the shame is only with the person that made those vows
Well,
and
absolutely.
clearly did not mean them. He didn't mean it. How do you say that you're going to be faithful to somebody in front of all those people when possibly there was already, who knows when this relationship with a friend started,
Yeah.
but it didn't just sort of suddenly appear so quickly, did it? Surely.
Oh, who knows? I mean, probably as long as they've been colleagues or something. I mean, I don't know, and it doesn't matter. Even to do what, the guy can't be committed for 2 months. I mean, it's this elaborate farce. And to me, I mean, yes, that's the staggering part. And also that he thinks he has a relationship to come back to. Hey, I'm just going to Italy to figure out my feelings. Like,
It's the absolute
ugh.
staggering entitlement that goes on there that he can go off to Italy with her friend or so-called friend, take his wedding ring off, do whatever he fancies, and then there will be an option to come back
Yeah. And
to
he's saying
his
this
wife.
like it's a concession. Like, yeah, we're gonna sleep together, but no harm, no foul. I'm gonna take my ring off. So presto magico, I'm not married anymore, and then I put it back on and I'm devoted to you.
But he does want some pick me dance related activity to go on in the meantime. You know,
It's
he would love her. He's sort of saying, "Well, I think I still," and this is so common, isn't it? Saying, "Well, I don't think I love you, but maybe I do love you," and maybe there's the option to have the glorious thing that is me back into your life. Because if you just wait patiently, as you should, because I am magnificent,
right.
then I might well decide that you're the best thing for me, not her, and then you will be the triumphant. But you think, right, well, run for the hills. That's the best option, unfortunately, because
Yeah.
at 30, the future of having children with
Oh
this
no.
person, of having a life with them, of investing more of your life in them, it's just not an option. It shouldn't be an option.
No.
There is no coming back from this.
No, and I'm glad she's clear about that. I mean, I've had letters where people are not. I just wanted to say to the woman who wrote this, I totally feel your pain. This is my almost exact story, except for 4 months later. I found out at the 6 month mark and not the 2 month mark. And yeah, I had the exact same question, which was like, why did you get married to me? I mean, this Yahoo is like, I just need time to figure out my feelings. Well, did the wedding not focus your mind? I mean, was that not your moment to decide who you love and who you want to commit to? It's so crazy. In my case, same kind of thing. One of the other women was at my wedding, and I paid her bar tab. It's a special little ring of hell. And I understand feeling really, really embarrassed about this because like all your friends and family have essentially colluded in this monumental humiliation. And I totally agree with you. It is not her shame to wear, but you still wear it. You still are like, how did I not clue into this level of deception? To which I say, you're not a monster. You cannot imagine that two people would be so monstrous. I mean, you wouldn't be fucking some guy and then going to a wedding and let the chump pay your barb tab, right? Because you're not a monster, right? So in the case of this other woman, you wouldn't be sending little texts back and forth to the person you're harming as you're screwing with her fiance, because you're not a monster. So you can't figure out that level of insanity.
I do think it's interesting that she says that this friend of hers had said that she enjoyed the power of
Mm,
sleeping with married men and winning the married man, taking breaking up a relationship, feeling that she's special because she's managed to do that. And I sometimes wonder if there is an element of that with people that get involved, because I can't imagine any circumstances where I would get involved with someone that was married or in a long-term relationship. It just would not cross my mind. And yet you hear over and over again people that get married, get involved with people that are married with young families, with vulnerable
yeah.
partners, with people that have been married for years, with pregnant partners. And you think, what possesses you to think that? I know that the blame lies squarely with the person that is in a committed relationship, but also the affair partners. What possesses someone to think that that is acceptable behavior?
Well,
Getting involved in this relationship.
well, it's the duplicity, right? I mean, they're an abuser too. They're a co-conspirator in the abuse. And I got in lots of trouble this week. Just a side tangent with Parul Segal in the New Yorker for calling infidelity abuse. That was kind of wild, my 15 minutes there. But this letter, let this go. This is abusive. Hello. How could anybody not listen to that recitation and go, this is abusive? And the other woman is being abusive. I mean, she's enjoying the duplicity. She's enjoying the mind fuck. She has said that she enjoys this kind of activity of the pick me dance and winning it. I have many thoughts. Here's the first one. If you're the other woman and you think you're in a pick me dance with a chump and the chump doesn't know that they're in a pick me dance, it's not a competition, right? This person is blindfolded and gagged and you're just punching them. They have no idea what's going on. So you're just a cruel motherfucker that's bullying someone. Also, the thing I have to say about this is the patriarchy. You know, one of the things that pisses me off are these other women who think they're feminists when this whole, I got to get a man, I'm going to break him up, he's a commodity, and his, you know, if I can pull him away from this woman that he committed to, I'm extra, extra special and hot. You suck the dick of the patriarchy. You are, I mean, this kind of behavior, this kind of hatred of other women, undermining them, abusing them, there is nothing self-actualized or feminist about this, and I hate the discourse that it is. The only thing I would say to the woman who wrote into us is that if someone is saying this to you in your friend circle, don't be friends with them, right? You don't share their values. That should be a big red flag.
I you know, it is staggering to when you read this, when it's laid out like that. I don't think there can be many people that wouldn't look at that scenario and say, because I think that article, I read it when you you said that you'd been mentioned in it, and it was staggering, really, because really the implication was that you're supposed to sort of be a bit more understanding and try and work out what's going on in these people's lives and not sort of just dismiss them as abusive or cheaters. But that's what they want, isn't it? They want all they want all this attention, and it puts them central to everything when actually, you know, the implication is that you're a bit part player in someone's big magnificent life. You're not. You know, you
No.
have your own thoughts and your own feelings. It's not up to them to decide whether they'll click their fingers and back you trot
Yeah.
to be a part in their life. You've got your own life. You don't need to be part of this sorry carry on, really, do you? But it's so difficult when you're in the midst of it
Well, no,
to
it's
try
a
and
bait
walk
and
away.
switch. It's a bait and switch. And I will say that as someone who had a D-Day as a newlywed, it's it's a particularly cruel in that you are at the height of heights, right? This is supposed to be literally the honeymoon. This is supposed to be the good time, right? This is before you've got mortgages and children, perhaps, and you know, bigger, older life responsibilities. This is when you're supposed to be the happiest, and they chose this moment to blow it all up. There's an intentionality about it that I think is the other woman is honest about that. This guy is pretending to be a timid forest creature who just doesn't know his own mind. But there is an intentionality about hurting somebody when they should be the happiest. And you see, you know, it's usually narcissists, people who write about this kind of thing. And I'm not a shrink, I just call them fuckwits. But there's something about people who sabotage you when life is going very well, when you're trying to pass the bar exam, or you got an award, or you have you know, something is calling your attention, and it's that's when they decide to blow it all up. And
There's
I
an irony as well that she feels shame and he probably doesn't. And actually,
clearly not.
wouldn't you be so embarrassed if you'd been the person that stood there and made those vows and then it was unveiled a couple of months later that you were having an affair with someone else and
No,
questioning the vows that you'd made and dancing around saying, well, I'm not sure. You know, who
no.
does that and doesn't feel enormously embarrassed and ashamed?
People who read Esther Perel, that's who. He would think, I am having a quest for aliveness, an exuberant act of defiance. I am, you know, the heart wants what the heart wants, Sarah. You know, he, there are people who will spin this into a romance. You know, it could be a Hollywood movie. Oh, there you are. And they would, okay, the chump would have to be somehow vile and awful in some way. Oh, she doesn't deserve him. And then the sparkly ingenue, she's taking him away from this one life he thought he was going to have.
As she's taken other married men away, though. So where did those particular special sparkly relationships go that clearly now consigned to the past, broken marriages, and or who knows what happened? Did the wife stay? Did they fall for all this stuff? But I think, you talk about people taking advantage when people are at the, at the happy moments in life. But actually, those happy moments, if you take him back, then move on to you being vulnerable, having a young baby, having something that will take the attention away from him. If he can't cope with this point in life, how would he ever cope if you became ill, or if you had young children taking attention away? Although it's absolutely devastating to go through this, in lots of ways, it's good to go through it now when you're young and you've got your life ahead of you, as it would be in a few years' time when you've got children to think about, more investment, more of a history together, then it gets more and more difficult.
Right. I mean, I just want to say, I agree with you, right? Because we found out when we were older and supposedly wiser, but it is harder. But that's cold comfort to her right now. I would just say, look, what you're dealing with is really traumatic, and it's going to take time to grieve the future that you thought you were going to have. It's easy for us to say don't grieve him because we can obviously see that he's a fuckwit. Even she can see that. He's being so callous. But she is going to grieve it, and it is probably going to fuck up her ability to trust again. And I would say, please get good help and support. And, there is a good life on the other side. Sarah and I both can attest to it. You can get through these traumatic things. And
I think the added element of somebody who you think of as a friend being involved in this.
yes.
I mean, I've never experienced that. I cannot imagine what it would be like if it was two people that you trusted as opposed to one, because that is I mean, Tracy, as you said, you paid the bar bill of this
Yeah.
person, and
I
I just think that the fact that it almost feels like you've got two people colluding against you and having a laugh at your expense, that must be so difficult.
Yeah, I mean, I I had it happen to me, and I people write to me in the blog, and it's a very common story, sadly. It's someone in your intimate circle that was the affair partner. And in my case, the main affair partner, the one who told me, wasn't the one that was at my wedding. She she came along 6 months later, and of course, the person that I thought was at my wedding was a friend of his, and then, okay, this is a really twisted tale. I'll just give the synopsis version, but she was a friend of his. I thought she became a friend of mine. And then I didn't realize that she was an affair partner. I should, in retrospect, there were some pretty weird things going on, but I was jumpy. And after I was separated from him, she would kind of come around and say, hey, I have to be by his house. Do you want me to pick up any stuff? Or, do you want to do that? She was kind of colluding in me leaving him and like wanting to give messages and stuff. And finally, one day, it just, I'm not kidding, I woke up and it dawned on me. I'm like, oh my God, I think she's one of his affair partners. And he had told me she was gay. Okay, so there you go. That one comes up a lot too. She was very sporty. I don't know. I wasn't going to question, I don't know. So yeah, I confronted her, and she's like, "Oh, no, no, no." But I mean, she had sent me self-help articles and whatever. And then he later admitted that, yeah, he had done. So they both were lying to me. It was a mind fuck. I could not unwrap. I just think they're both kind of sick in the head. Okay, and then years later, I mean, many years later, like a couple years, not that long ago, I just Googled out of curiosity, and she died like 5 years ago, impoverished, having to do GoFundMe's to pay for her cancer treatment. And I felt nothing but sad on it. I mean, it wasn't like, ha ha ha, die, bitch. It was like, wow, like you got nothing to show for this really weird life choices you make, you know? And I would say be viciously angry at this other woman, but just understand you're dealing with a very sick individual. And I don't think that their life turns out to be all roses and she's going to trot off with your man happily ever after. Men are not prizes. I would say the other thing. What do you think of my man? Like, let's take that out of our vocabulary.
No, I just I the idea of going into competition for somebody that has stood there. You short 2 months ago, if a man was a triumphant prize, you won that competition. How could you just 2 months later be fighting to keep somebody that said that they would be there in sickness and in health and in also it's just a ridiculous. But I mean, it's not. I know that from reading your blog that this isn't unusual. You've read had letters like this before.
Oh yeah, I've had
It's
worse, right? I mean, and not that there's a pain Olympics. There's not. It's all painful. But how could anybody argue that infidelity is not abuse? If you read a story like this, how could you not see that as anything but abusive? He knew he got married, right? He knew he'd committed to her. Like, yeah. How
and
could you do that?
it's the colluding and the lies and the and actually, if he really is very certain that he's not he loves this other, or thinks he loves the other woman, although he doesn't seem to have any comprehension of what love is because he's not sure about either of them. I'm pretty sure the other woman isn't involved in this communication, that he's not sure about her either, and he's
Oh,
got to
really?
somehow decide between one or the other. But if that was really his genuine feelings, he would just take himself off and say, "I'm sorry, I made a mistake."
That's right.
That's it. Not this, "Oh, look, you could have magnificent me back if you play your cards right and you just wait quietly while I go off and do my thing in a hotel with this other woman."
Yeah, that's right. He could have ethically ended this. As horrible as it would have been to get divorced 2 months afterwards, he could have worked out his feelings or acted on his confusion. He could have gone, I'm a timid forest creature and I don't understand my mind, but it would not be fair to A, to do this to her. So I'm going to put the brakes on. But no, he wants all the wedding gifts and he wants the continuation of whatever his wife appliance brings to the table. And he also wants to go to Italy. I mean, that's some kind of crazy entitlement right there. That just shows his mind. He really thinks, as you said, he's a special sausage. He's all that, you
But
know?
she's done amazingly well. She's blocked. She knows what to do, really. She's done a lot better than I did when it happened to me. I did get engaged in all sorts of pick me activities for quite a significant period of time. So
Yeah.
she's strong. She's amazing. She's going to be fine.
Well, she says she misses him and loves him. Let's talk about that for a minute. I will admit, as much as it blows my mind now, but in the early days when I went through it, I shared those feelings. I thought that I loved this person and I thought that I missed them and I missed the lie. I missed the lie that I was safe and that I was loved. And I had put so much into that lie. I invested my whole life in that lie and I missed the security of it. But at the time I felt in love, and it's pretty normal to feel in love 6 months after you get married, right? I mean, did you feel like when you left, or did you stay on when you pick me dancing? Did you still feel like you missed this person, that you loved them? It's hard to, when
I
you're out of
miss,
it, to think of
yeah.
that place.
You also miss what it made you. So for me, I had
Yeah.
4 young children, and it made me part of a happy, stable, married two-parent family. I
Mm,
missed the security of that. I missed who I thought he was. I missed what he said he was, and I miss the idea that there was a big part of me. You talk about going through a wedding. One of the things that kept me with him was
mm,
he's the only person that will ever see me bring children into the world. See,
mm.
at that point of
Yeah,
absolute vulnerability, and
totally.
no one else will ever see me give birth to children. And the person that did was prepared to walk out the house and carry on with her while I was looking after those 4 children, the youngest of whom was 2 years old. It wasn't, again, it's a commitment, isn't it? You think you bring 4 children into the world, you think you've kind of gone, yeah, I'll take responsibility for being part of that. You don't think, well, I'll go, well, I'm sorry, I'm a bit tired and it's a bit exhausting and I need babysitters and I need to be gadding around the world.
Mm,
That's not what you sign up for. But
right.
unfortunately, I tried to keep that, but the moment that he had the affair, that had gone. I thought I could get it back. I thought I could, and also I kind of felt that sense of triumph myself when he
Yeah.
came back and said, "I want you. I don't want her." I thought, "Oh, that will show you. Try and steal my man. I'll have him
Yeah.
back. Thank you very much."
Right.
Thank goodness I saw sense in the end, and she's welcome to him. She can have him. He's all hers. Good
Yeah.
luck with that. I don't think it's quite so joyful as it. In fact, I know it's not joyful now. Get on with it. Off you go, the pair of you. The best revenge you can get is letting them have each other. That's my theory on the matter.
Absolutely. Like I said, for the other woman who I paid the bar tab, I mean, anyone can get cancer and die poor, friendless, and alone. But that's what happened. And I just think somebody who makes a point of, I like to steal other people's men, is a sick person. She's sick in the head and it doesn't end well. And if it looks like it does, it's because they're really good at impression management. And sometimes evil people triumph. But I just think if you have a hole in your soul, you can't possibly be happy. And these people both have elevator shafts where their soul should be. It's just staggeringly horrific that you would do this to somebody. And yeah, I hope we've given you some comfort. A that's that's it. Anything you want to say to her as she rebuilds her life without a fuckwit?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think some of the episodes that we've had of the things that these cheaters say, the gifts that they give. You have avoided a lifetime of maybe getting a a pebble for a gift, or just go back to some of the episodes, see the
The
kind of
American
life
flag
that you are.
comfy?
Yes, yeah, there are things that you are
You
avoiding
were
by
avoiding.
by
Yeah.
person
You
of
don't get
that
a
kind.
lifetime of stupid shit that he's going to say
No,
to you.
exactly. Exactly. But as you say, it's so hard when you're going through it. It is all encompassing. The grief hits you, the life that's been taken away from you, the dreams that you had, the fact that you've got to learn to trust somebody else all over again, the familiarity, all that stuff that means so much to you, but it means nothing to them. And
Yeah.
that's the awful thing. You're being hit by this grief as they're busy gathering other brand new, shiny affair partners.
Yeah.
The people are dispensable to them. They're less dispensable to the person that's cheated on.
Yeah. I would say too that, getting back to the shame and embarrassment that this happened to you, and I I can't speak for you, Sarah, but I know that I was really embarrassed about being chumped when it happened to me, and I wore that for a long time until I realized that was a mind fuck. Is that there is absolutely no shame in committing to someone, and there's no shame in loving someone with your whole heart. It is a huge gift, and he shat on that gift, and never lose perspective of that. You did nothing wrong. You are the best of who people can be when you commit and love to someone. He just wasn't worthy of your investment in him. And that's on him. It's completely that you did nothing to feel ashamed about. And I would say look at that dream and go dream a new dream, a different dream. It doesn't have to be that some guy picks you out and validates you and says you're the special one. You're going to be so much stronger for having this horrible thing happen to you. And you're going to have so much more discernment, and you're going to have all these hard blessings, but they really are blessings, right? You're just not going to put up with shit. And at 30 years old, that's a good place to be. And it doesn't feel that way now. It really doesn't. And I'm sending you a big hug all the way to where you are. That wraps another episode of Tell Me How You're Mighty. You want to leave us a mighty story or a fuckwit of the week submission? Check out our new website, tellmehowyourmighty.com. That's yours spelt Youre. We've got all the episodes, show notes, links to our guests, and you can see the tea room where Sarah and I first met. If you enjoyed this episode, please review the podcast and follow us. Thanks. See you next week.